Welcome back to another Gaming Memories video. Here we're actually looking at, in my opinion, an actual hidden gem on the actual PlayStation. International Track and Field that was developed by Konami back in 1996. I remember actually very well when I was first introduced to this game. Actually was my mates had actually rented it out. And then a few weeks later then my mate Derek then bought it. But I didn't really play it the first time round when the boys actually had it. And I remember we rented out the PlayStation one weekend and Derek actually took the game over. And he was like, oh, we're going to actually play this here. And I was kind of looking at it because I, to be honest, no interest in these type of games at all. And I was more into the likes of Resident Evil, Cars, you know, more action based type of games, and straight off the bat I didn't think I would like it, and I was just like in two minds as to whether I wanted to actually play it.
Second attempt.
But the boys had been playing it for a while before I'd actually seen it, and they were like, this is class, you have to play this, you know, it's so much fun. And we were all sitting down in the living room. My folks had actually gone out on the Friday night, and we actually took the we actually put the PlayStation, set it up in the living room on the bigger TV, and just went to play it. As you can see here, I'm quite rusty. I haven't played it in a while, so I'll do better the next time. But I ended up sitting and watching the lads playing this here, and we had two controllers at the time that we got with the PlayStation. We rented it out, and we were like, right, we'll give this a go and see how we get on. And I was sitting there and I was watching, and I was like, you know what, this actually looks quite good. I was laughing at it because the boys kept messing up, and the sound effects in the game is hilarious. Every time you make a mistake or whatever, like, it's so funny. I actually was in doubles laughing, and I was like, you know what, actually, give me a go at this and I'll go and have a look at it. And
second attempt.
It took a bit of getting used to, I will admit, trying to figure out the controls. But once I got the hang of it, I was just slaughtering all the boys. I was just like, and then every time I was waiting for them the whole time to mess up. They were laughing at me, I was laughing at them. This game, without a doubt, for me, I was just like, this game is absolutely brilliant. I couldn't believe how much fun this game actually was. And the fact is, when you're playing it with multiplayer, when you're playing it with multiple people, was just hilarious. Now, we only had two controllers at the time, but then a few months later Derek had actually gotten his own PlayStation, and he went and he bought this game, and we'd actually gotten more in depth with playing it more so with the weekends and stuff like that. And then the best part of it was because it was 4-player, and for a few weeks we were playing like with just two controllers, and it was still great fun. But then Derek ended up getting a multi-tap controller, and we ended up getting a few extra controllers. And I'm not kidding you when I say this for me is one of the best multiplayer games I have ever played in my life. Not only one of the funniest games I've ever played, but one of the best. This is such a hidden gem. I could not believe how good this game actually is. And see, when you have the multi-tap set up, when you can play with 4 people, this game is an absolute scream to play. I'm not kidding you, like, this game it is so much fun. For a game that I never ever in my million years would even have gone near or even considered. And it ended up, this year, it's actually ended up being one of my most favourite games of all time. I've actually got so much love and respect for this game, and it's just because it's just absolutely hilarious. If you actually want to play something that actually uses a multi-tap and play multiplayer games, especially with the old PlayStation, this is one of the best games that you'll play with that multi-tap, bar none. It really, really is. This game is an absolute blast to play with your friends. But anyway, back to the game, because as I said, I have so many fond memories of this game. This is definitely one of my favourite games on the PlayStation. It's definitely my favourite multiplayer game on the console, hands down. If not one of my most favourite multiplayer games ever. But yeah, you can do, like, say the Olympics, you can do like different kind of trials. You do like 100-meter sprints, and now I did get better in this one because, again, I haven't played it in a while, but I used to be a beast at this. The boys would be laughing at me because I'd be going bananas with the controller, pressing the buttons like crazy. and my face would be going pure red, literally the sweat rolling down my face, and the boys couldn't even play against me because they spent more time laughing at me because I was so competitive. But what actually happened was, when it got to the likes of the 100-meter sprint, the hurdle jumps and the swimming, the boys didn't even try to beat me because they actually couldn't, because I just knew how to actually get the fastest speeds, just because I was just so competitive. The only chance they actually had to beat me were on the likes of these here events here. They could beat me on these events, but they could never beat me on the 100-meter sprint. Once I got the hang of the game, I just completely just destroyed them. And I just, oh, this game was just hilarious. I absolutely love this game. But again, you've loads of different events, like say from 100-meter sprints, hurdles, you've long jumps, you've triple jump, high jump, you've javelin, shot put, and there's a load of different events that you can enter into. I think there's up to like about 10. Now, relatively, this game, when you play through the campaign, it is relatively actually very short. You'll actually get through these events very, very quickly if you're playing on your own. There is a bit more longevity in it when you're actually playing, say, multiplayer with your friends and stuff, because everybody has to take their turns to try and beat each other. Now, depending on the events that you do, they are more difficult depending on what's required, because timing is everything in this game. If you get it wrong, you will mess up, and you'll mess up bad. But that was the fun of it when we were playing this game, because all we were doing was just waiting. As you can see now, I remember when that used to happen, I would be falling off the chair with the boys laughing. And then as soon as I go and do it, I do the same thing, and they would happen with me as well. This game was just so much fun. And you could ask any of my friends, my brothers, and they'll even tell you this here, or they'll say, yeah, brilliant game, but we just laughed so much at me that it was impossible to play the game because we were laughing that much. We were always in stitches playing this game. I think a lot of it had to do with the type of, like, with the graphics and the sound effects. For me, it felt very kind of a bit more cartoony. It didn't, even though it tried to be authentic, but it was definitely more arcadey, and it definitely had a cartoony kind of vibe to it. And I think that added to the concept of the game, because it's so much fun with this game. I will admit, by the time you'd actually done the likes of the hurdles, and especially this here, the swimming, my god, you would be exhausted at the end of it, the button bash, and especially this one here, because this one here was prolonged exposure to button bash, and you just could not even lift your finger or even your arms at the end of it. You were just completely out of breath, your face going pure red and everything. I'm definitely not as good or as fast as I used to be. Struggling with it now. That will tell you, I have not played this in a long time. But all the events, they all add their own challenges. So they do. And again, if you're playing the multiplayer, especially with the multi-tap, it's absolutely hilarious, and it's so much fun. And it's as competitive as you want it to be, basically, when you're playing it. It's totally up to yourself. So we're just actually going into the hurdle race now, and I'll be honest, I was terrible at timing the jumps to go over the hurdles. So because I used to be that quick at actually running, as you'll see now, I literally just run through everything, because there's no way I can actually stop myself, because I'm going that fast that I actually cannot actually time myself to actually jump over the hurdles quick enough. So I just end up just running through them all. Because I knew myself, if I didn't actually run through them, someone would catch up with me and beat me. And I was just like, no, I'll be damned if I'm going to let anybody beat me. Yeah, I couldn't get the hand button coordination correct so that I could actually time the jump over it. So I used to just go hell for leather, and I used to just run through everything. And the boys would just be laughing at me the whole time, like, are you serious? And this was all the time, every time I'd done this race, that's all, because I wasn't able to do anything else. I couldn't time it. If I tried to time the jumps, I'd lose. So much fun. You got as much fun out of making mistakes than you did out of actually winning. But it was competitive enough that you wanted to keep trying, and it was addictive enough that you wanted to keep trying. That was the brilliant thing about this game. This game pretty much for me had everything. It had the laughs, had the playability, had the longevity in it, because like I said, it was great when you're playing with your mates because you'd always come back. There'd always be a group of us playing it at the weekends, and we'd sit for hours actually playing it, trying to beat each other's scores or just laughing at each other, making mistakes and just doing crazy stuff. And it was just absolutely hilarious. Again, like you can see here, you're pressing the buttons and trying to get the bar up as high as you can, because the faster you go, the more momentum you get, and the more momentum you get, the easier it is to initiate the final action. I think you used to press the triangle button to get you to usually do the final piece or jump or whatever it was that you were trying to do, but everything was about timing. You had to build up enough momentum and then literally hit that button, or scale the button up to a certain angle, you press it and hold on to it for about a second or so, and then you'd let go. Or in this case you just press it, and you'd still need to hold on to it so that you could get the character to literally flip around, because if you didn't flip around you just knocked the pole off. But again, that's to say, it was all learning curve, and you used to just laugh every time someone messed up. You'd be thinking that you're over it, and all of a sudden then your leg hits it or your head hits it and you're like, no! And everybody would be just falling to the floor just in skits, just laughing at everybody. You couldn't take it seriously. It was one of those games you could never get angry with, or even get annoyed with, because this game was just hilarious. You'd find that if you didn't get it the first time, you'd do it probably about 100 tries, especially on the likes of this here. I don't know how many times this one here was hilarious. We used to laugh so much at this one here, because we literally couldn't even get it past the fence. Every time it would take us all about 50 tries to even just get one good shot, and even at that, he still wouldn't even get over the mark to qualify. And then the sound effects, even in the commentators when he was saying foul, you'd just be in absolute doubles. Yeah, I definitely had to have a few tries with this one, but that's no different to what it was back in the day when we used to always play this. Very very seldom would you ever really get a good run at this and get it on your first attempt. You'd need about 5 or 6 attempts to warm yourself up before you'd even get a good run at it. This was definitely one of the more difficult ones. That and the javelin are definitely the two hardest of them all. But this one here was definitely one of the funniest ones, because we used to have a ball with this one. I mean, literally you'd be just screaming at everybody, just laughing at them every time someone mess up, or that I would mess up. And even when you were getting to a point where you thought you were going to beat the world record and you were just a smidgen off, or that you just went over the line just by a hairline, and you'd be kicking yourself, like, I can't believe that just after happened. As you can see, I'm quite rusty.
Third attempt.
Definitely need a few attempts at it. There we go, finally got it. It only took nearly 10 attempts, but that's what it took. But that was the fun of it. That's what kept you playing, because it was very very addictive. This game is seriously addictive when you get into it. And again, because it is actually fairly easy to pick up and play, there's nothing serious about it, it's nothing really overly complicated about it. In a few minutes you will get the grasp of what it is that you need to do, and again it's just then perfecting it and then just timing everything. Once you get that kind of going, you're not too bad. Here we're on the triple jump. We used to get some mad jumps. Sometimes you'd actually be looking, it looked like you were actually going to jump out of the arena sometimes, the way the camera used to go, because we used to jump that high sometimes. It used to be absolutely hilarious. We used to have so much fun with this. I used to always go in slow motion, like, whoa, where's he going with that? Yeah, but the funniest part was you'd always just see the wee legs just going absolutely mental as well, especially when you're doing the running sections. you just see these wee little legs just scampering along, and then you go into one big slow-mo kind of jump, and you're just like, oh my god. And you just be in fits laughing the whole time. What I wanted to do is I wanted to save the hardest to last, because this is tough. I mean, it's horrible. Like you just, this one is so difficult. This one literally, I'll be honest, I actually had to cut a bit of this video out because it took me a lot more attempts than what I'm actually showing here to get this, because I haven't played it in that long, and the threshold for qualifying is tough. And even this is on the easiest difficulty, and this is still difficult. I always struggled with this one. Yeah, it took quite a few attempts. The cool thing about the game though was as well that you weren't waiting long when you messed up. You were pretty much straight back into the game within a couple of seconds. So you kind of weren't hanging around, because it was such an addictive game. You really wanted to get going. But at the same time, on certain other events, you were glad to get a break. Yeah, that didn't go too well. As I say, that's just the luck of the draw, and it's just the way it happens. It's all about timing, and if you mess up, it shows. And there's other times like that you throw it way in the air and you're like thinking to yourself, whoa, this is actually going to go somewhere, and then it literally goes about 20 feet. You're like, oh, that wasn't much. That was like, that's what say added to the fun of it.
The distance was 49.3
Getting closer.
meters.
But it's one of those ones like the shot put and the other throwing events. You could have to have like 30 or 40 tries before you get one good shot at it, and a lot of times it's just pure luck that you actually get it. That's the way it goes. Yeah, I definitely had to have a few goes of this. Like I said, I had to cut a lot of it out because it actually took me a lot longer to do it than I actually wanted to admit.
The distance was 47.29 meters.
Again, because I didn't want this video to go on forever. Again, because you should all get bored of me watching me make mistakes all the time. So eventually got it. I must have took about 50 tries
Third attempt.
to get it. But all you need to get is just the one. That's all. To make it count.
The distance was 46.84 meters.
So yeah, after a long time trying, I finally got it. It only took like forever. But that's just the fun of this game. That's, you know, addictive it is. Once you get playing it, it's very, very hard to put it down, and you just want to keep playing it until you finish all the events. But the javelin is definitely the most difficult one of the bunch. So again, like I was playing it there on the easiest difficulty. So if you want to pretty much, like say, get extra features and that, like there is only 10 events, but the more you play on the harder difficulties, you actually have bigger thresholds to beat in order to qualify. But I says I'm not doing that, because I says I just, after playing this, I'll be honest, I'm exhausted. It took a lot out of me playing that. I'm not as young or as fit as I used to be. Let's just put it that way.
On your mark.
So I decided just to jump into this here. I wanted to see if I could still actually do the 100 meters in under 10 seconds. I didn't get it after a while, but I eventually got the hang of the button combinations again. So once I got that, I said, right, I'm going to give it a go.
On your mark.
Again, used to always do false start as well. That was hilarious whenever that happened. You were just too eager to go. Someone would always push your button. I can't remember which one it was. I think it was my youngest brother. He used to always just push the button because he was just far too eager to go. As you can see here, you just see the legs are just going 90, just going absolutely crazy. That's just, it used to just laugh our heads off, just the legs, just the speed of the game. The game was so fast. So everything about this game was just absolutely hilarious. As you can see there, I broke the world record on that there with 8.44 seconds. I decided to have another run after this to see if I could beat that.
On your mark.
I can't remember who got the fastest, but someone definitely got under 8 seconds at one point. I can't remember what it was myself or someone else earlier on, or this is years ago, but it's been a long time ago. Definitely won't get that now. Again, you can see the legs, it's just crazy how funny it is.
The time was
Yeah, I beat it just.
8.37 seconds.
Still got it. Old age hasn't slowed me down a bit. But yeah, if you definitely want to play a multiplayer game with your mates, if you have a multi-tap, this is definitely an essential purchase or buy if you can get your hands on it and get the whole setup, get multiple controllers and get the multi-tap. This is one of the best multiplayer games that you will ever play, and definitely one of the best on the PlayStation. For me, this is an absolute hidden gem. There was no way of thinking that I would ever, in a million years, ever look into buying a game or playing a game like this, because I usually wasn't into it, but this has ended up becoming one of my favourite games of all time. So I highly recommend that you actually play it. You won't regret it. So that's it now for this video of International Track and Field. I hope you've actually enjoyed it as much as I have experiencing it again. I've forgotten how good this actually is, and it's still as good today as it's ever been. It's hilarious, and you're definitely worthwhile playing it. So if you have enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and also hit that subscribe button and hit the bell icon to be updated when I release future videos, as I will be creating more videos like this, exploring other games here and showcasing my memories and sharing these type of games with yourselves. So until next time, make sure to keep playing and hunting down these classic games and enjoying them, and as always, make sure to keep those gaming memories alive.